What's up? What's up? I want to tell a story about Teen Wolf. Um, in the first Teen Wolf, when he first turned into a wolf, he was scared. He didn't know what was going on, so he ran home and he locked himself in the bathroom. And his daddy came and knocked at the door, and he was afraid to open the door for his daddy because he had turned into a wolf and he was scared. So when his daddy convinced him to open the door, he opened the door and saw that his daddy was a wolf. And he was like, son, I didn't know when it would happen, but you know, we need to talk. Let me tell you what's going on with you. So when he saw his daddy was a wolf, he was like, darn, Dad, why didn't you tell me this? So, that scene was very powerful. And, it's kind of like that's how it worked. We are what we're made of. We got certain things in us that's just innately who and what we're made of. So, like, for me, that same wolf is in me. That's in my daddy. And throughout my life, I've examined my daddy in so many ways in terms of his wolf that I wanted to know how to control it. You know what I mean? And make it work for me. And just like in Teen Wolf, when his daddy explained to him what it means to be a wolf and what happened, and the more he became comfortable and learning to accept this is what I am, as you saw in Teen Wolf 2, everybody around him started loving the wolf. He became a basketball star. He made the wolf work for him. So like in my life, I looked at my daddy wolf aspect, and I'm going to just say my daddy wolf aspect. Anybody know my daddy is like a sense of arrogance and, just a bullhead. You know what I mean, man? So for me, sometimes I look at my daddy when he in his wolf form, and it make me cringe because I know even if I know I might not like the way he doing it or the way it make me feel, I also know that that shit in me too, man, and I know I be turning into a wolf. So I'm always conscious of my wolf and how to make my wolf work for me, or how to better my wolf for the next generation, you know what I mean, which is my son. Now, a little bit about my wolf. Like, for me, anybody that know me personally know I'm like this charismatic, compassionate, I say empathetic dude that always looks happy and never comes across as a threat. Sometimes I be trying to look serious, and my wife would be like, man, you need to stop trying to look serious. You know what I mean? So it's like through that happiness and just being just being who I am, as from a child, I always was subject to be bullied on sight. If you ain't know me, like first situation, the bad kid or the mean kid would see me. And even though I was big, but because I was a happy child or smiling, I was always subject to be tried. You know what I mean? And even now, I kind of hate conflict because it ain't so much that I'm scared of it. I be scared for you. You know what I mean? Like when my wolf come out, like I say, I'm an arrogant bullhead. So it's like I prefer to just be me in the character of, hey man, I love everybody, but when you challenge me, I'm finna goddamn show you what time it is now. So I give you an example. Like I'm gonna give you an example. Like when I went to South Mac, and I love using football and things like that to teach lessons. But like when I went to South Mac, first time in ninth grade, they had this thing called bushing, where they make the ninth graders jump in the bush. You know what I mean? And when I went to South Meg, I didn't know nobody at South Meg. You know what I mean? I was a totally new kid. So we was walking to practice. It might have been the first day or first week of one of those days. But we had a lot of man boys at the time. And there was one man boy named Arthur Wilson. He was like, I think he might have been in the Tim, but already benching 300, dunking, everything. You know what I mean? Doing that shit since he probably was in the 8th grade. But I remember, like I say, just this happy-looking kid, ain't got no type of threatening aspect about myself other than my size. I just got a bubbly spirit. So he was like, jump in the bushes. And I ain't know what it meant. He would say, jump in the bushes. Now, being the fact that ain't nobody here know me, but I consider myself a damn man boy too, I came from here, I moved from Hidden Valley, went to Northeast, but hell, I was a damn man boy too, and Father forgive him for what he not know, right? But I understood why he was trying me, like I told you. I'm a good kid, a happy kid. So he say, jump in the bushes. So I say, hey man, you gonna have to throw me in there. So hey, there ain't nothing. So before I say that, growing up in Hidden Valley, we always did a 2 out of 3 wrestling thing. That was just one of our hobbies. We wrestled like a motherfucker growing up in Hidden Valley. So, and I was always the youngest on my street, so it wasn't nothing to wrestle somebody who was bigger than me. So he say, well, all right. So he went in like he was gonna do it. Next thing you know, wow, on his head. You know what I mean? Stood up. I say, all right, hey, you get one more try. We go 2 out of 3, You get me, we go on the 3rd one. So, yeah, boom, on his goddamn head, right? Got up, dapped me up, we walked to practice. And ever since that day, that was my introduction. Cuz all right. You know what I mean? Hell yeah, man, he coming to play football. It was kind of like a rites of passage. I had to have it, but I'm always subject to prove my rites of passage because I attract, goddamn, almost like I attract bullies. And it took me a while to accept that I attract bullies because of my light, because of I'm always happy. And some people just want to put that shit out. And somehow, some way, we associate positive with weakness, and we put negative, mad people who are destructive or people who do things, we automatically give them respect and realness. So that brought out the wolf in me. And when it brought out the wolf in me, it brought out that arrogance, that bullhead. And that's why a lot of times you may even feel that in my posts. But a lot of that comes from I get tried so much in life because I'm happy, man. You know what I mean? Because people love me. I get tried so much. And it's almost like I welcome it in an environment because I'd rather it be me than the people around me who can't take it and might break. So I love taking on that challenge in whatever aspect of you think you about to show me you bad just because you think I'm weak because I'm not mad or I'm happy or I'm smiling. So I took my daddy's wolf and understanding that wolf almost in a manual type of way to incorporate it into understanding about who I am, right? And when I turn into that wolf, like I say, whether it's football, whether it's rapping, whether it's anything, like I do rap battles and I don't believe in fuck that all that old dope dealing gangster ass shit. And people respect that as real. And so just like when I'm in a rap battle, I goddamn get so blood fucking raw with positive real shit that I make a motherfucker who's spitting that shit in front of me feel like a piece of dirt for glorifying that shit. And I do it vigorously. See, that's how my wolf come out. And sometimes I'll be so raw in my wolf, in my arrogance, in my bullhead, that now the person that was supposedly being the bully, or who supposedly thought that I was gonna be weak because I'm positive and I'm happy, now they play the victim role to say, oh, as if the movie's supposed to win in their favor, to say, fuck this big dude, he ain't always smiling and shit, watch I punk his ass. You know what I mean? So, you know, I don't give a damn if you don't understand me, but in real life, I know what brings the wolf out on me. And I said all this to say that my son, this is his first year in playing football. And it's like, I ain't got no expectations on my son as far as athletics or sports or any of that shit. Like I say, 90% of people I meet in real life, and if you know me, you know I ain't lying, I ain't gonna meet nobody in real life 90% of the time that was better in goddamn football than me at any position, running back, defense, any of that shit. So I speak that with motherfucking arrogance and bullheadedness, because I was constantly come from a generation where I had to prove myself against naysayers and doubters. So in that, you know, my son is my son. He's made of me. I see a lot of myself in him. This is his first year. And just like this is his first year, you know, he's been nurtured in a sense. As you can see, you know, we stay somewhat in a secluded area. He ain't never really had that life where he was outside just playing amongst people. So I try to put him in sports, but I know he got to have that balance. But overall, he's a charismatic little boy. He ain't got no aggression in him or feel like, why I got to prove my aggression, daddy? Like, I ain't mad, man. Why I got to be mad? Or so, you know, I get that because that was me. This is my child. You see what I'm saying? But I'm not putting expectations on him, but I'm using football to prepare him and show him what being a happy kid, what being a loved kid attracts. And just like in football now, you know, he has to deal with, I think, somewhat, you know, people looking at him being as his first year and his aggression might not be there. So he's somewhat, I ain't gonna say get picked at, I ain't wanna make him no victim in no type of way, but he's constantly feeling like he have to prove himself. So I'm preparing him through football to show him, son, look. And I know it's gonna happen in puberty because that's when the wolf come out. But I'm preparing him, son, you're gonna have to prove yourself through life. I say, I can love you, your mama can love you, I can protect you. But when you out here in this world, just like I had to learn, you have to establish respect. I say, ain't nobody gonna give it to you. You know, you have to establish it. And because you can see the love on you, because people can know you love, you can see it in your eyes, you can see it in your spirit. That makes a lot of people wanna tear at that or attack that and it just may be, why him? So they come at it, you know. So just like in Teen Wolf, man, I can't wait till that day, man, when he come home or when he in a situation and he's standing there in wolf form. And I got to let him understand, son, my daddy was a wolf and your daddy is a wolf and you are a wolf. Now let me show you how wolves operate. And you realize and understand how to be the best wolf you can be. But I know it's coming. And that's why a lot of times, you know, you ain't saw me brag on nothing. My daddy don't never really brag on me, or if he do, he don't really never tell me. One time I told him, I used to argue with my daddy. I said, man, you don't never tell me you proud of me. He said, cause if I tell you proud, I'm proud of you, I feel like you might get the big head and stop. Keep on striving. He said, goddamn, keep making me proud. And as a child, I want to hear it. So just like in that wolf, I'm a better. I want to encourage my kids. I want to show my son, I believe in you. Son, I got your back. Son, there's no limit. Because I feel like in my daddy wolfness, that's something that he didn't understand that I needed. So in my wolfness, and I still got ways to work. I'm new at this, but in my wolfness, sometimes I know it's like I talk too aggressive to my son. And I can't change that, or I try to change it or work on it because I'm a wolf. But I'm very conscious of what I put in the wolf's aggressiveness. You see what I'm saying, man? So, this is just a story about Teen Wolf. Like I say, going back to the original point, when he turned into a wolf, he ran to the bathroom because he didn't know what was happening. Then his daddy opened the door and showed him that he was a wolf too. And when his daddy explained to him and had a conversation about them having histories of being a wolf, he was able to accept and understand what it means to be a wolf and go out and make the wolf work for him and make the wolf somewhat a powerful asset of his character, like he did in Teen Wolf 1 and 2. So the point is, your children, man, when you see yourself and your children, man, you are the manual. It's important that you talk to your kids and help them understand if it's things in you that innately you couldn't deal with, explain that to your kids because that's what they're made of. You know what I mean? And give them that reference. And just think about how many kids out here who don't really have a reference or who run into that bathroom because they turned into a wolf and there's nobody there to open that door and say, I understand. Let me tell you, imagine all the children out here that deals with that wolf and don't know why and don't know how, man. That's a powerful thing, man. So, if you in your children's life, be very cautious of that. I always say my daddy raised me to be weak where be strong where he's weak. And I think he did a good job of that. And in my own personal life, I'm trying to live up to his strengths, but I got all his weaknesses covered. I love you.